contractors are trying to bring in more workers from ASEAN countries as Singapore closes its borders to India workers from Saturday. That's according to the Industry Association, which warns of further delays to projects like built-to-order flats. Currently, the only approved ASEAN source countries for construction firms are Malaysia, Thailand, Myanmar and the Philippines. Isabel Lim with more.
Faced with an acute manpower crunch, contractors are scrambling to get new workers into the country to work on projects like public housing. Contractors we spoke with say they've lost up to 30% of their workers since the start of the pandemic. But only about 10 to 20% of applications for entry approvals are granted, according to one major player.
From our experience, it's easier to get them in if you apply any workers from China, but for India and Bangladesh, perhaps it's a bit more challenging because the risk factor is higher because of course the situation in their home country.
But Mr. Liu estimates about 80% of workers in the manpower-reliant structural trade come from India and Bangladesh. And the situation is set to get even more dire. With India hitting a record 330,000 plus COVID-19 cases daily, Singapore will no longer let in workers from the country from Saturday. All this is adding to contractors' worries. The Singapore Contractors Association says the move will worsen delays and drive up construction costs, which have already gone up by up to 50%. It adds that these will inevitably be passed on to Singaporeans if the situation continues. For smaller firms, they'll feel the pinch even more.
When we try to engage employment agencies, they will always allocate manpower to those bigger companies who are doing bigger projects like the BTO. We saw other companies poaching my workers on site. Workers will definitely go for higher pay, and then we will have to match the requested pay or lose them.
For now, contractors say even moves like working on weekends and public holidays will do little to speed up the process.
There are a certain number of hours, until 2 hours of overtime that we can do. I mean, we can't reach that. It's against the law. From the human angle as well, the workers, they need to have a proper rest. If not, you have safety concerns coming in.
In the long run, contractors say there may be a need to further diversify source countries for workers, from about 10 countries allowed currently. But this will take time. In the shorter term, the Singapore Contractors Association says it's working with agencies on accurate and reliable pre-departure testing at source countries and potential quarantines there as well. All this to cut down on the risk of imported cases. Migrant workers are currently required to take a COVID-19 test in their country and test negative within 72 hours before their departure.